Please rejoin. Okay, now we shall go ahead with the next concept, that is archetypal theme. Archetypal theme refers to the recurring. Recurring means taking place again and again. Something which happens again and again. Something which is used every now and then. Recurring, reoccurring is the term, and that is shortened recurring. The shortened term for it is recurring. Reoccurring means something which occurs again and again. So archetypal theme refers to the recurring thematic patterns in literature. Means the themes which occur in literature every now and then. And the common archetypal themes are death and rebirth. We can come across this in S.T. Coleridge's work, The Rime of the Ancient Mariner. Death and rebirth are the common themes. Even love. Love is a very common theme, that is archetypal theme. Then paradise, Hades, as it occurs in again Kubla Khan by Coleridge. The fatal woman, the theme, occurs in Guy de Maupassant's Doubtful Happiness. These are some examples. This is not the exhaustive list. There are many other examples. The Earth Goddess. Okay, by this is a work by Yanda. Yanda is a work by Isaac Bashevis Singer. The scapegoat is a very common theme. Scapegoat. Barisa Bakra म्हणतो आपण. So D.H. Lawrence is the woman who rode away. And the return to the womb is a theme used in Flannery O'Connor's The River. Now I have mentioned some examples here for the sake of your understanding. There can be many more such examples. In many poems, for example, you come across archetypal theme, the themes which reoccur. For example, the theme of love, marriage, etc. are called archetypal. Now, who used this term archetype? This term was used in psychology by the famous German psychologist Carl Jung. The spelling you need to keep in your mind. It is not Jung, it is Jung. Okay, Carl Jung. He used this term to describe what he called primordial images. And these primordial means something which is in your primitive memory, means before the civilization, the culture came into being. Before man was civilized, before man adopted culture, before that, okay, that is called primordial. And this primordial image exists in the collective unconscious. Again, these are the terms, psychological terms. There can be individual unconscious. As we understand these terms with reference to Sigmund Freud, again another German psychologist, Sigmund Freud. He uses the term conscious, unconscious, subconscious, etc. And Jung refers to collective unconscious of humankind. Means all of us have those images in our mind. And these images are manifested in our myths. Myths means the mythical stories such as Ramayana, Mahabharata, etc. And religion. literature, and dreams as well. Okay, these images appear in a collective unconscious. Unconscious means the state of mind which is not aware of. न कळतपणे आपलं शुद्ध म्हणजे आपण म्हणतो ना जाणीवा आणि नेणीवा. कॉन्शियस इज जाणीवा and unconscious is neniva. Something, for example, when you dream something, your dream is unconscious, and we think of these images, which sometimes we see such dreams, which we can't explain. Jung thinks that the roots of these dreams are in your primordial collective unconscious. And such themes, such images are used in myths, religion, literature. For example, I'll tell you, the rising sun. The rising sun is considered to be the beginning of the life. It is archetype. The setting sun, okay, or life cycle. For example, life cycle is presented by the sunrise, zenith, and sunset. Sunrise is something which is related to the birth. Okay, in literature we have beginning, middle, and end. Where does it come from? It is irrespective of the country you belong to. आपण कोणत्याही देशाचे असलो तरी पहा, साहित्यामध्ये सुरुवात असते, मध्य असतं आणि अंत असतं. This is life cycle, and this is archetype. Okay, so this term is broadly used in literary criticism to refer to character types, motifs, images, symbols, and plot patterns. Means I just now I gave the example. For example, goodness and badness. There can be good characters, there can be bad characters. Means protagonist and antagonist. Wherever you go, in any part of the world, you have got similar stories. Why? Despite of our cultural differences. Now, if we read Greek mythology, and Indian mythology, you will have similar kind of stories. A fight between good and evil. Wherever you go, whether it is in Islam, in Christianity, in Hinduism, in Buddhism, in every kind of mythology, Puran Katha manto, you will come across a fight between good and bad, between good and evil. So this is what archetype is. Then there can be motifs. The motifs of storm, the motifs of mishappenings, accidents, etc. So these are recurring. Love is there, marriage is there. All these things happen. So this is called archetype. Typical means archy means you might be knowing. Type means these kind of characters, these kind of recurring themes, motifs, these kind of images, these kind of symbols, plot structure, the plot which has exposition, rising action, falling action, then denouement, etc. are very common irrespective of the country that we belong to, irrespective of the culture that we belong to. म्हणजे कोणत्याही देशात गेला, कोणत्याही संस्कृतीमध्ये गेला, तर तुम्हाला चांगलं आणि वाईट यामधील संघर्ष दिसेल. त्यानंतर लव, प्रेम असेल, या भावना या सगळीकडे एकच आहेत. So this is what archetype is. Okay. So in many different literary forms and works, we come across this kind of archetypical themes. So the embodiment of archetypes in a work of literature can make a powerful impression on the reader. It becomes universal. Okay, so this is how we understand these things. Here I would like to stop my discussion. We shall continue in the next lecture.